In at 10, Moon Drip. I never needed a FNAF animatronic to dress like a hype beast. And I don't know what it is about these damn security breach animatronics, but everything about this game is seemingly getting memed, okay? The Moon Drip animatronic, as they're being called online, are basically just hype beasts with the Moondrop face photoshopped over top, which is certainly one of the most basic fan versions, but it's still scary because I don't need this. I never needed to see a FNAF animatronic wearing Supreme merch. Like, why on earth? Why would someone choose to do this? Like, you willingly created this. I get the whole like Gregory sus meme because let's face it, he vented and nobody can deny it. We were literally on cams when he did it, not even a joke. We were literally in a camera room. And I can get the whole like Vanny or Vanessa simping, trust me, I can get that. But Moon Drip? That's taking it too far. We already have Gregory being a little demonic Fazbear hype beast with all of his Faz merch, okay? We don't need animatronics to be goated with the sauce, alright? In at 9, Human Sunny Drop. Any human version of an animatronic is creepy, okay? Especially human versions of non-human animatronics. Like human Ballora and Baby, that's fine. They were humanoid to begin with. But humanoid Freddy and Chica, God no. This time though, Sunny Drop is in that kind of gray area. Like it's kind of humanoid, but it's not based on a human. It's like if the sun was a person, and I've seen that before. Turning Sunny Drop into a human only enhances this idea further as well, since this guy straight up looks like Heat Miser from The Year Without a Santa Claus. This guy is about to fight to melt the North Pole and sing some damn catchy tunes, okay, even if he doesn't in Fahrenheit. Only 3 countries in the world still use Fahrenheit. Did you know that? 3. Out of 197 countries, only 3 of them use the imperial system. The US is one of them. You're one of 3 countries. Come on, step up your game. Anyway, the human Sunny Drop or Sun Drop, whatever you want to call it, creeps me the hell out and makes me kind of cower in fear, okay? He's the kind of clown that asks you if you want to play games after your parents go to sleep and then is killed by Sam and Dean Winchester because he's secretly a monster. In at 8, Internet Rule Moon Drop. The rules of the internet are sometimes a glorious thing, okay? They can help you know what to avoid or what to search if you're into that kind of thing and your legal viewing age. However, when I just look up an animatronic and start getting some of the most famous internet rule of all time, that's an issue. This thing is literally just a personification of the moon. Why are you people so into that? Like there's even Springtrap art of this nature. And he's like a skinned human in a robot suit. How is it that people are simping over Springtrap and Moondrop, yet I'm still here single and unloved? I don't get it, honestly. Moving on, personifying the moon is one thing, but then giving it genitals and then causing it to do obscene things, just stop. This would have been higher on the list, like it would have been number 1, because this is the scariest thing that I've ever seen, but I wanted to tell people to cut it out sooner rather than later, because the retention always drops off near number 1 for some reason, even though it's the one that everyone wants to see. But hopefully, by doing this, I can cut it off at its legs. Stop it. Get some help. In at 7, Statement Saturn Sun Drop. Knitter.net user Statement Saturn Sun Drop version posted on December 28, 2021 is certainly a beautiful bit of artwork. However, I believe the inspiration for this was the character of like Dream XD from the Dream SMP, or at least it seems that way, which kind of makes this scary. This version is very godlike in a sense, okay? It has like a floating sideways halo of sun rays and a really flowy outfit, but despite the character smiling, it still gives me the heebie-jeebies. And ever since my sister became scarily obsessed with the Dream SMP, anything of the sort triggers me. This dude looks like someone who'd watch people from outside the pizza joint and like creep up to the window and peek in. And I mean like really peek in, like only coming up enough so that he could see what's inside while trying to keep his body hidden and he's only showing his eyes. And if he couldn't get a good enough angle while he's on the ground, he'd crawl up the wall and then like look in from the top of the window. And if anyone calls him out for it, okay, he'd kill them, he'd off them in like a second, and then he would continue. That's what I think this dude's personality is like, okay? He doesn't interact, but he does like to watch from within the closet. And at 6, Human Moondrop. The human Moondrop is creepy for the same reasons as human Sunnydrop. However, the biggest problem with the human version of Moondrop is that he's always creepier, okay? He's the emo brother that everyone pretends doesn't live at home. It's some of the absolute scariest damn human animatronic hybrid I think I've ever seen. And I've seen a human version of a baby Ballora hybrid combination animatronic. And that was some nightmare fuel, but this is even worse. Like, no matter who's drawing it, any version of a Moondrop character is always a combination of like Jack Frost from Rise of the Guardians and ironically enough Snow Miser from The Year Without a Santa Claus. Possibly the Snow Miser thing is clicking because of the juxtaposition with the sun version of the character, but still. I think that this guy is, instead of like watching from outside, he's the guy who watches from the inside, sneaking in the shadows, like a creepy rogue stealth archer, but he's not shooting arrows, if you know what I mean. He's no. Halfway through, in at number 5, Chibi Sundrop. Chibi Sundrop is even worse than the human versions, somehow. Mostly because I feel like it's too close to a form of gacha life character and that just makes me cringe. It's scary not like in an appearance kind of thing, but just because this is what would be in my nightmares. Like, don't get me wrong, okay, I would have to be on a lot of meds and would have to have an absolute metric ton of sugar to have this nightmare, but it's still possible. I doubt other people would consider this scary, which is why I'm putting it at number 5, kind of like halfway through, but I don't know why, okay? The whole chibi thing sets me on edge. It's just creepy. Like, why do you want these things to have eyes literally half the size of their head and so incorrectly proportioned? I don't like chibi designs, I really don't, and I can't tell you why. Okay, you just need to take my word for it. In at 4, Moon Man. Moon Man by ArtMama113 on DeviantArt is pretty damn haunting, and in a design way, not it's a bad way. Like, the artwork itself is great, and definitely better than anything I could do, but the creep factor starts with the fact that the eyes are glowing red, and one of them even appears to be smoking. No idea how this could happen, but hey, it's a thing. And the clothing design is also creepier than the normal Moondrop, just being like a whole galaxy. It's like Shane Dawson got a hold of the clothes when he was doing his like whole galaxying phase, and I think that the person doing it is already speaking to how creepy this is. With like the actual skin texture also being visible and it looks like a moon, not an animatronic. Or some like very, very old and crusty cheese that really needs to be thrown out. Or as I would say, banished, being the cheese king. But I think that the icing on top of the creep cake here isn't the smile that gives me a million different war flashbacks, or the shoes that make me feel like Cicero is on my tail, or even the tips of the fingers that for some reason are a deep, deep blue. Instead, it's the fact that this version of the Moondrop animatronic is saying, "Come closer, child, I'll make your death a painless one," which I very much doubt that you will, you sadistic. This guy looks like he enjoys torturing and then gets off on it. And like, why are you wearing a crop top? Great art though. Getting close to the end, and in number 3, Statement Saturn Moondrop. The reason I thought the inspiration behind the Saturn Sunnydrop was the Dream SMP was because the Moondrop version was called Nightmare in brackets, whereas the Sunnydrop version was called Dream. Now that could just be a reference to how these characters would originate from dreams or nightmares, but I don't know, I just drew the parallel. Anyway, this version of Moondrop also just looks like a combination of the moon and Slender Man. Like, this man has 4 black tentacles that are coming out of his back, and honestly, he just looks fed up with everyone. He's slightly humanoid, which like I've said before is terrifying, and he also seems to have emo hair that's the same pitch black as the rest of his body. And he looks like the wizard that's been trying to get me to buy his magic. Wait, that guy probably isn't an actual wizard. Penultimately, in at number 2, Nightmare Sunnydrop. And considering how this is a Nightmare animatronic, I'm pretty sure you understand why that one was only number 3. Picture Nightmare Yawn and then just make it the Sunnydrop animatronic and you have what Nightmare Sunnydrop is in essence. Which makes him creepy as hell, because we all know how I feel about Nightmare versions of puppets, okay? Normal puppets, not creepy, that's fine. But the Nightmare versions that are meant to be creepy are definitely going to mess with me. And this guy is messing with gold, okay? Gold is my color, and we all know that. This creepy dude also doesn't need those weird buttons, okay? Like, what's the deal with those? Why are they so creepy? I don't know why buttons of all things are creeping me out. Like, it could be the torn body, or the ruffles around the neck or waist, or the fact that he has bells on his wrists, but no, it's the buttons. Why am I the way that I am? And don't even get me started on his bony little chicken legs. Those are even worse than mine. Are you serious? And that's saying a lot, bro. Plus, the shoes are just weird and creepy. Excellent job though, Living Corpse 7 on DeviantArt. Excellent job. And finally, in at number 1, Nightmare Moondrop. Yes, the Moondrop version is going to finish us off this list because have you seen it? Man's is like the Nightmare Sunny Drop on roids, and then every other single illicit substance imaginable that would get us demonetized but also ruins your appearance. Like, see, this is why you should only have pharmaceutical drugs, and only when you need them, because what the Not only does he have the same creepy leg and body and arms as the Sundrop version, but somehow this man's shoes got bigger. I don't know, how? How? You're supposed to be the same thing with a different color scheme. How did your shoes get bigger? And suspenders? Really? That is a horrific fashion choice, and trust me, I used to wear suspenders, so I'd know. Not to mention the whole implication that this guy's watching me when I sleep, and his first words in game are naughty naughty boy, and then everything else he says would get me put on multiple watch lists if I said them out loud. And those claws? Like the Sun version has them, of course, but like, they just look more menacing on this guy. Holy sweet niblets, Mindly Ray Stewart. And it's Glamrock Foxy. Speaking of not wanting to deal with additional lore, Glamrock Foxy would add a really unnecessary amount of just sheer annoyance to the game. At this point, Roxy is basically the love child of Foxy and Bonnie, and I say this every time. He even has a name that reflects the whole Foxy thing, okay? Since Roxy is just a combination of Rock and Foxy. I mean, like, I'm sure that's not intentional. Like, Roxy is an actual name that people have, but I figured that I'd mention it anyway because it's still like a combination of both words. And she plays the guitar, so there's a link to Bonnie. However, the main issue with this is just the fact that, like, Foxy is like a scarier Bonnie. I know all the diehard Bonnie stans are gonna come for my balls or something in the comments, but like, hey, look, I get that Scott had nightmares about him, okay? But honestly, there's just no contest between these two characters. Bonnie isn't actually scary. Yet the Glamrock versions that I see for Foxy fit in well. And considering the Pyrorite Easter egg that seemingly introduces another Foxy, I talk about that in the top 10 tiny details you missed in the FNAF Security Breach trailers video, we might very well get a special version of this OG animatronic. Or we might already have one running around and we just haven't seen him in the trailer. And at 9, Spider Ballora. Anyone who knows me knows I hate spiders. Big, small, poisonous, venomous, non-aggressive, any form of spider deserves to die, and if it's near me, hopefully it will. And while the Havoc puppet is messed up, if you know me, if you've watched any other fan videos, you'll know the Havoc puppet. The spider version of Ballora is literally called Spider Ballora, and I hate it with all my guts. While a couple of Nightmare Balloras have spider legs, this takes it to the next level. Her original form of crawling like a spider was already bad enough in my eyes, but now I have to deal with literally 3 eyes, 8 legs, a thorax, and 6 arms. What the hell? Man, why on God's green earth would you create this unholy monstrosity of a creature? Like, this is the kind of thing even Satan wouldn't approve of. When you die and you have to walk down the stairs to hell, Satan's gonna hide behind the gate and tell you to just keep walking. This is true horror, and I don't care what you think. You don't think it's scary? Good for you, but I'm not sleeping tonight. And with the introduction of the Music Man spider animatronic thing, whatever that unholy creation is, more spider animatronics, unfortunately, are now par for the course. And I don't want to deal with it. And it ain't Shadow Fredbear. Shadow Fredbear is almost perfectly intact, only burnt black in color, and he has a few rips on his body and is missing his left hand. The area around his mouth appears torn slightly as well, revealing a majority of his endoskeleton teeth, and his teeth and eyes glow, which makes it easier to see. Wonderful. Imagine if this animatronic had gums though. If he did, that would probably be the scariest thing on this list. But, like, the absolute monstrosity that would have been created just by giving this character f***ing gums is... I don't want to talk about it. My genius is sometimes terrifying. But, nonetheless, this is still creepy without gums, okay? Especially because this dude is... like, he looks like the FNAF VR jump scare that's just like the glowing eyes or nose and mouth that are like glowing red. It's like that, okay? It's weird. This dude is powerful, and he replaces most of the other animatronics on Night 5 of Final Nights 2. However, with the connections that Gregory and the Crying Child seem to share, perhaps Shadow Fredbear would be a way to enhance that connection further. Or it could be a hallucination or a manifestation created by Glitchtrap in an effort to scare us into submission so he can be sacrificed or whatever the hell he wants from us. And it's 7, Fixed Springtrap or Scrap Trap. Fixed Scrap Trap doesn't sound scary at first, and then you see what some fans have done with this design, and then you crap your pants. The eyes for many of these versions is what makes it unsettling. The fact that everything on this animatronic looks put together and almost brand new, save for the fact that you can still kinda tell that there's someone in the suit, is off-putting. And someone who might not even really be doing well and is likely dead yeah. The contrast of the clean suit with the manic eyes of it, there's something very unhinged about this version. I'm getting the vibes for that, really. And including this in the game could serve as William's new body, because I'm pretty sure he will unfortunately be coming back despite my constant pleas to kill him off permanently, because for some reason everyone thinks we'll be able to redeem Vanny, which means that we'll need a villain, but I don't think so. I don't think there's any saving this And at 6, Twisted Funtime Freddy. While there are a plethora of twisted animatronics, both from the mind of Scott Cawthon and others, none are quite as terrifying as Twisted Funtime Freddy. Twisted Funtime Freddy combines the nightmare design of previous animatronics with basically everything else that you would find terrifying in an animatronic. Like, I don't know why the teeth have to be angled slightly outward, and like, I don't know what it is about this animatronic that makes it so much more terrifying than everything else, but it worked. It doesn't matter. Even if it's not pointed outward, I think the mixture of the visuals plus the thought of them also being able to move their face plates from being underground and still twisted but moving, it just, everything culminates in my brain and just causes panic. Like, it's like a sensory overload, but with FNAF, and honestly that's what FNAF does to me nowadays. These are freaking nuts, and I don't know what it is about it. It's in essence a nightmare animatronic, but seems so much worse. Plus, it's a way to work in the different twisted animatronics into the game lore, including the canon ones and additional fan ones maybe. Halfway through, in at number 5, FNAF AR. FNAF AR Special Delivery is certainly an interesting game, but the animatronics present in that game are even more interesting. With skins like Clown Springtrap and Arctic Ballora, it's always cool to see new takes on our favorite animatronics. Get it? Because she's Arctic. However, the cooler thing would be to see these animatronics in Security Breach. I mean, we've already seen some of them in the Furry's Rage video game, which saw us fighting waves of enemies throughout the Pizzaplex, so why not just put them in the main game? Especially some of the fan-made versions from that game, because those are way cooler than anything in the actual game itself, okay? It could help explain why the animatronics that should be dealt with are back, especially since it's an argument as to why any of these animatronics should actually be added, because it would mess with the lore of what we already know. See yesterday's list for me using that reason multiple times to explain why even some of these animatronics on this list shouldn't be added to the game. But hey, I'm all about contradicting myself, okay? It gets people talking in the comments. Speaking of which, who do you want to see in Security Breach? Who isn't like actually like confirmed? Like, don't say, oh, I'm looking forward to seeing No, don't do that. Who do you want to see in Security Breach who isn't confirmed yet? Let me know that you actually made it this far into the video by answering that question in the comments. In at 4, Ignited Freddy. This game could also serve as a link between game worlds if that's the plan. A breach in the security of the dimensional barrier, if you will. Scott would stretch a title like that, let's be honest. And Ignited Freddy is one of the main antagonists of the Joy of Creation fan game, which will have a new Ignited collection released as part of the Fazbear Fanverse initiative. In this game, you play as Scott Cawthon, whose creations have escaped from the game and are coming after you. Ignited Freddy appears to be a burnt and charred Freddy Fazbear animatronic. He has no bottom jaw, he's exposed his endoskeleton's bottom set of rusty teeth, his left ear is also missing. Ignited Freddy, he wears a top hat though. We love a classy gentleman, like his original counterpart. Both of his hands are also missing, along with the suit on his shins and his left forearm. He has no real eyes, only black holes with white pupils, but adding this to the game could serve as a way to connect the fanverse to the main universe and get fans excited for the fanverse initiative games in an interesting way. Getting close to the end, in at number 3, Nightmare Glam Rocks. Nightmare versions are designed to be the scariest versions of their respective animatronic, and you know what? I get it. That's why there are so many fan-made versions of them, because while elements like rugged exosuits and stomach mouths are common, you can only do so much with those. You can head anywhere else from your own imagination. Same with scrap versions. However, these nightmare versions are something else. Considering their pristine appearance in the trailers and promo images, well, with the exception of Chica, there's a stark contrast between these two versions. The normal Glamrocks and the nightmare Glamrocks. Jeez. There just seems to be the ultimate nightmare aesthetic going on with these characters specifically, even more so than like twisted Funtime Freddy. I don't know why these animatronics specifically make me think that way, but maybe it's because like Glamrock Chica is my babe, but like now, even still. Glamrock Bonnie isn't even a thing yet, but their Nightmare Glamrock is, I still want it in the game. But with the amount of jackassery that comes from these FNAF games, I wouldn't doubt it if Scott just threw these in to make a more solid connection between Gregory and Crying Child. Either because it's canon or because he wants to mess with us. Because that's something he would do, especially when he's leaving and the person next to him, or the person after him, has to clean up his mess. And ultimately, in at number 2, Glamrock Puppet. Every time I make a list discussing creepy animatronics, every single time, without fail, a freaking puppet makes it on the list. That's mostly because the puppets are freaking terrifying, man. And I feel like the phone guy whenever I talk about it, but like, the puppet is creepy. And the Glamrock puppet is no exception. This character wasn't originated in the Fury's Rage game like I figured. Yes, I actually called it by its proper name this time. But instead, it's just a separate design. Just no matter what, it just looks like it wants to bring me to the back of the pizza joint to show me where it puts the salami. I don't mean literally, but like, you get what I mean. And not only does it come with its own creepy concept art, but it also comes with Minecraft skins, because of course it does. This is one of the weirdest versions of the puppet, not taking into account Scrap Puppet, Wither Puppet, or Reaper Puppet from Final Nights 3. Yet this design, it also still fits into Security Breach, and considering how we got a version in Fury's Rage, maybe we should get a version in the full game. Hopefully it doesn't float though. And finally, in at number 1, Glamrock Bonnie. I think the freakiest part about Glamrock Bonnie is the fact that they're not going to be in the game. So as far as I can tell, the only mention of Bonnie will be in the bowling alley that we probably aren't really going to get to use, but for the most part, like with the rest of the animatronics, these designs aren't really scary, well, aside from the Minecraft model. What's with people and making Minecraft animations for all these FNAF characters? The game hasn't even come out yet. Freaking Glamrock Puppet, freaking Glamrock Bonnie, just chill out. Either way, these versions, aside from one from a Twitter user called Manute Art, aren't really all that menacing, but the idea that people are creating additional animatronics is scary enough to me, because I don't want to deal with the additional lore that would come from that. But these designs are incredible, so maybe I could deal with it if it's just like one of these versions that was included in the game. Just make sure that it's like one of the first few you see, okay Scott? Don't scroll down too much, trust me, it's not worth it. The rules of the internet are there to protect you. In at 10, FNAF 2020. These Glamrock animatronics are from the FNAF 2020 series of drawings from DeviantArt user Senior Artsy, who I believe we've seen on this channel before in some other fan versions videos. However, I don't want to call out one animatronic specifically, but rather the whole collection of Glamrock versions from this 2020 set, because while yes, these animatronics will mostly be in the game, with the exception of some like Bonnie, these color palettes and designs are much more sinister than their previous versions, especially Vanny and Freddy. Since giving Freddy a panda face, I don't know why, but just for some reason makes me kinda scared of him, and I think it's because the rest of his body isn't a panda and it's just his face, so it's like he's wearing a mask and gonna rob you or something. I don't know the psychology behind it, but I think we can all agree, especially that Vanny looks like she should not be playing in a kid's game. And at 9, Glamrock Bonnie. I think the freakiest part about Glamrock Bonnie is just the fact that they're not going to be in the game. So far as I know at least, the only mention of Bonnie will be a bowling alley that we probably aren't gonna get to use, but for the most part, like with the rest of these animatronics, the designs aren't scary. Well, aside from the Minecraft model. Like, what's with people and making Minecraft animations for FNAF characters? And like FNAF, I don't understand it. I'd also like it to be noted that instead of animations, I spelled animatronics when I was writing that list initially, and I also did it again while writing this line. That's how much FNAF has taken over my life. I can't write animation anymore. So I hope you people are happy. But either way, these versions, aside from one version from a Twitter user called Manute Art, aren't really all that menacing. But the idea that people are creating additional animatronics is scary enough for me, because I don't want to deal with the additional lore that would come from that, okay? And it ate Glamrock Foxy. Speaking of not wanting to deal with additional lore, Glamrock Foxy would also add a lot of unnecessary amount of annoyance to the game. At this point, Roxy is basically the love child of Foxy and Bonnie, and even has a name that kind of reflects on the whole, like, meant to be Foxy thing, since Roxy is just a combination of Rock and Foxy. Like, it's also an actual name, but I figured I'd mention that it's basically a combination of the two words, and she plays guitar, and so there's a link to Bonnie. However, the main issue with this comes from the fact that Foxy is just, it's scarier than Bonnie. I know all you die-hard Bonnie stans are gonna come for me, and I get that Scott had nightmares about him, but honestly, there's just no contest between these two characters. Foxy is scarier than Bonnie, and that means that his Glamrock would end up being scarier as well, especially if you take the toy animatronics as an example. The Glamrocks are very close design-wise to the toys, so keeping that in mind, the toy variant of Foxy is still scarier than Bonnie's. Case closed. And at 7, Roblox. I looked up Glamrock versions of characters, and somehow I kept getting loads of different Roblox versions of the FNAF animatronics. And this is goddamn terrifying for me. Why do you ask? Well, because it's Roblox. I don't like Roblox. The only good Roblox game is paintball, and that's it, okay? Anytime we talk about Roblox, I feel an overwhelming sense of dread wash over me, because ever since that list about like the worst things that people did on Roblox or something along those lines, I've seen the Roblox community as horrifically toxic and just something I can't really stand. Especially with the comments on like that one time I played Roblox on the channel and everyone got mad at me for just playing paintball, but like, that environment combined with FNAF, which is already the bane of my existence at this point, and you get some pretty horrifying experiences that I don't want to deal with. And at 6, Withered Glamrock Freddy. I've said it before, Withered animatronics are probably some of the weirdest and creepiest animatronics there are. I personally find Withered Bonnie way creepier than Nightmare Bonnie, probably because of the whole lack of a face thing. But with the new Glamrock animatronics on their way in a month, it was only a matter of time before someone withered them. Searching Withered Chica only really gets you pictures of like Chica from the Broken teasers and the trailer, so instead I'm going with Withered Glamrock Freddy because these are creepy as hell. Every version of Withered Glamrock Freddy makes me concerned that we're climbing into his belly to pilot him like some really energy inefficient mech suit. Like, thinking about it, that's a really bad idea. This guy not only looks scary, but also made me realize the error of Gregory's ways, which makes him even worse. When we ultimately do get crushed at the end of this game, I'm calling it now so that when it does happen I can say I called it. This is how I imagine Glamrock Freddy looking. Or, if this is post FNAF 3 and the company has been ruined, maybe this is what the animatronics look like, except they're using those sound illusion discs to make us think otherwise. Halfway through in at number 5, Glamrock Puppet. Again, every time I make a list about discussing creepy animatronics, a freaking puppet always makes it on. That's mostly because the puppet is a freaky character to begin with, and I feel like the phone guy whenever I call the puppet creepy, but it is creepy. And the Glamrock Puppet is no exception. This character wasn't originated in the Furries Rage game like I figured it would be, but instead it's just like a separate design that no matter what just looks like it wants to bring me to the back of the pizza joint to show me how the pepperoni gets put on the pizza. And no, I don't mean literally. Yes, that was an allusion to something else. And not only does it come with its own creepy ass concept art, but it also comes with Minecraft skins, because of course it does. This is one of the weirdest versions of the puppet, not taking into account Scrap Puppet, Withered Puppet, or Reaper Puppet from Final Nights 3. This is like the 4th weirdest and scariest puppet, and there's nothing really scary about it. It feels wrong to me, and the whole pepperoni thing. And at 4, Glamrock Plush. Okay, so technically these are official and licensed plushies, so they're not really fan-made, but there are other versions on Etsy that are actually fan-made, so there are some fan-made versions. And honestly, those are the ones that you should be getting, because look at these king things. Why are the Glamrock Security Breach plushies so funky looking? They look horrible. Like, this was actually so much of an issue that many people had with these plushies that it caused a bit of an uproar within the community when they were first revealed. Not only that, but because, you know, Funko has a history of just leaking everything for some reason, and they don't look like the other plushies that they've released before. Like, if you're gonna make real plushies, at least make them look the same as they did in the VR game, so that we can like actually really see them and hold them, because we've already seen them before. It's not that hard, guys, really. These Security Breach Glamrock plushes are some of the worst proportioned and most horrifying plushies I've seen. And I saw the one that Scott Lang gave to his daughter in Ant-Man, and the bloodthirsty minion my father gave to my sister. These are still the most horrific ones that I've seen though, okay? If I had these, I would be scared for my life. Although, mentioning that they are on my Amazon wish list, so if you guys want to, I'm just kidding, I don't have an Amazon wish list, I'm not a girl. Getting close to the end, into number 3, Blacklight Glamrocks. Some of the Blacklight versions of Glamrock animatronics are absolutely horrifying. While I'm not sure if the plushie versions are official products, the fan blender versions for the characters are freaking nuts. Chica with blue skin is not only off-putting, but actually haunting. Same with a yellow Roxy. These are like if the Glamrock animatronics were Pokemon, and then like these were the shiny versions of them. So far, the only Blacklight animatronics that we know of are the ones from Help Wanted that only really appeared in the animatronic maintenance minigames in Blacklight mode, but that were never used again and that we don't really get to see. It's terrifying to think about the lore implications as well. Like if this place turns off the light at night, but then turns on like a black light or something, like how do they change color? How are they not just neon whatever their color is? Because these peeps are colorful as hell. So why not just glow your own damn colors? See, my head is starting to hurt even just thinking about these things. Just please, keep them away from me. And ultimately, in at number 2, Nightmare Glamrocks. Nightmare animatronics are designed to be the scariest versions of their respective animatronics. And that's why there are so many fan-made versions, because while elements like rugged exosuits and stomach mouths are common, you can really just head anywhere, same with scrap versions. However, these Nightmare versions are something else. Considering their original pristine appearance in the trailers and promo images, well, with the exception of Chica, there is a stark contrast between the two versions. They seem to be just the ultimate nightmare aesthetic going on with these characters specifically. I don't know why these animatronics specifically make me think that way, because maybe it's because like Glamrock Chica is my babe, but now she's not, but like even still. Glamrock Bonnie isn't even a thing yet, but their Nightmare Glamrock version is scarier than their normal Nightmare version. Stay away from these, don't look them up, although you've already seen them because it's in the edit. So I'm sorry. And finally, in at number 1, scrap Glamrock animatronics. With Security Breach releasing in less than a month, we had to include a group of animatronics as scrapped versions on this list. And honestly, it's actually a good idea, considering how Chica in that promotional image seems pretty scrapped already. They really wouldn't have to do much to make that work out. However, the versions that I've actually seen are scarily horrific in a way that makes me concerned if they'll be in the real game. I don't think these would be in the game, but based on my old theory that I had about how these characters are kind of acting like zombies and like eating animatronic, or I guess not animatronic, but like other robotic parts, this look just makes me feel too right. Especially when we see in the trailer Chica getting progressively more destroyed. I feel like this might actually end up being a thing. These animatronics being made into scrap animatronics are honestly some of the freakiest custom scrap versions that I've seen. This is some freaky scrap. I tried to stay away from anything like that was like too pristine, I guess. Cause like what I used to do in previous alternate fan version videos was just look up adjectives. Like if it was like scary nightmare and like fan versions, I would just look up like withered nightmare, something else nightmare. I would just add that. I would just add adjectives to Nightmare's name. So I tried to avoid that this time, but scrap and nightmare are always a classic way to go, okay? If there's gonna be a Halloween update for this game though, Scott, or I guess Steel will at this point, you need to add these. That would be fun.